this dream that I'll say 3 women were trying to give me a hysterectomy. Okay, so if it was a dream, then this is spiritual. This is a spiritual attack that I'm speaking of. Okay, they were trying to give me a hysterectomy. So let me explain this dream to you. I was sitting in like a doctor's office, well, or a waiting room. I was sitting in a little waiting room. There was a lady to the right of me, and she was talking to me. And this is why I said I think it was 3 women. There was somebody speaking to me, like I could hear them like in my ear, and it was kind of like they were on like a intercom as well. But I can also hear it, hear like she was talking directly into my ear. And then there was a person next to me, and I want to say she was in scrubs, like she might have been a nurse. And then there was another woman that was standing outside of my waiting room. Now, my waiting room was glass, so you could see inside of it. She was standing outside of my waiting room, pacing back and forth with a child, as if she was waiting to see what was going to happen, or if they were going to be able to get the job done. Okay, so I'm sitting in, the chairs that they sit you in to take your blood pressure. I was sitting in one of those chairs. I realized that I had on a hospital gown. I was hooked up to the cocktail drips, the machines that they hook you up to in order to give you an IV. And the little table was beside me. And the lady, whoever, I don't know if it was the woman that was standing beside me or if it was over the intercom, but it felt like it was right here. So I'm inclined to believe that it might have been whoever they collaborated with to do the job. Okay, so she's talking to me, and as she's talking to me, I realize that I am very confused, and there was like a cloud of confusion, like I was heavily sedated under anesthesia. You know how you can kind of hear what's going on, but you're very, very drowsy. That's how I was feeling in the dream. And she's talking to me, and she's explaining to me that, oh, we're not going to do a full hysterectomy. We're just going to give you a partial hysterectomy. So I'm also able to, the Lord also allowed me to see everything, that's going on in the dream. I could see the woman standing out, looking through the window, pacing. I could see the woman standing, the nurse beside me. And I could also hear, whoever that was talking. So I remember looking down, realizing that I'm already undressed. I have on a hospital gown. I'm hooked up to this machine. I'm sitting in this chair. And she's telling me we're just going to give you a partial hysterectomy. So I'm, like I said, under, anesthesia. I mean, at least that's what it felt like. But now I know that it was witchcraft. Okay. And I'm like this, just drowsy. But I'm able to go in and out and see everything that's going on around me. So when the witchcraft broke is when I said, I remember thinking, I don't need a hysterectomy. And let me tell you, I have 4 children. My oldest child is 31 and my youngest is 15. So I'm not really trying to have natural children. Okay, so I know this is something that was being done in the spirit realm. So I said, I don't need a hysterectomy, So that's when I said to myself, I don't think this is right. So I jumped up out of the seat and snatched the IV out of my hand, and the dream ended. Meanwhile, this lady standing outside of the window is watching, pacing back and forth. So I wasn't sure, what this dream meant. I knew the gist of it, but it wasn't until I came across this scripture. He frustrates the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. That's Job 5:12. That's the scripture that I ran across. And that described exactly what was going on in this dream. Because, nurses and doctors, they use their hands to do their work. And if you're giving somebody a hysterectomy, you're doing surgery on them with your hands. So I know these people. and have been knowing them for a very long time. So when I woke up from the dream, we don't want to admit that these people really feel, this way about us. We want to look for, an escape for them. So I asked God, Lord, is this really them, or are you just using them because, I know their character? Or sometimes, the enemy will use people that he'll use their face in order to cause confusion and division, and all this stuff. I said, I know the Lord is like, sometimes like, I wish my child would just get it together and see what I'm trying to show her. But anyway, it's them, all right? It was them. And the fact that they were trying to give me a hysterectomy in this dream, that means they were trying to cause me to be barren in the spirit realm so that I cannot or would not be able to birth my destiny. Okay? And also, these people try to, I didn't know this was even a thing, but they will actually try to steal your womb so that you can't give birth. So these are the measures that these people will go to dim your lights, all right? So if God tells you to let them go, no matter how long you've been friends with these people, trust that he can see a little further down the road than you can. And he knows more than you. And our hearts can be attached to people and we don't want to believe. But when God shows you what's going on, just believe him. And I had to, immediately begin to go into prayer. And let me tell you this, when you don't believe what God is showing you, it will affect the way you pray, which will affect how you are protected. Okay, so if I'm questioning God, is this really them, or are they just being used, as a description? So now I'm not going to really pray, as effectively as I should be, if I had just accepted it for what I saw and immediately, went ahead and prayed and did my spiritual warfare. Just continue to cover yourself. And it is a good idea. It is good practice that when you wake up from a dream to go ahead and pray. It is good practice to ask God, what did you mean by this? How do I need to pray, concerning this dream? Because, dreams can be, a little confusing or whatever. But this is what they were doing. They were trying to give me a hysterectomy in the spirit realm. And for some reason, I think that the voice that I heard talking was not the person that was standing beside me. Okay? I just believe that the person that was beside me was the nurse, and she was the one that was going to do the surgery. But the voice that I heard, I believe that must be the one, that orchestrated this thing. I believe that. And they were sisters. So, yeah. But anyway, and this is what kind of sparked my question. Like, why am I even on these people's mind? Because I don't talk to them on the phone. I don't deal with them, out. Like, I don't hang and, all this stuff. But like I said, the Lord had to explain to me that, especially if you have rejected them, if they have tried to inject themselves in your life and every time you say no, then that's going to infuriate them and they're going to try to figure out, why can't I fool her? Why can't I be in her life? It'll cause that spirit in them to become angry and they'll begin to seek revenge, because that's what this dream was about. They were seeking revenge because I grew wiser. I'll just say that. Okay. And the fact that no matter what position you find yourself in life, even at your lowest of low, when they see you, you are still thriving and they don't like it. Okay? So keep yourself covered. If he tells you to get up and pray, because it is so very urgent. The children of God are crossing over. We're receiving our blessings, our prayers that we've been praying for 20 years are finally being answered. And They're trying to do everything, the enemy, because he's the one that's behind all this, trying to do everything they can to stop you from receiving. But it's not going to work. No weapon that is formed shall prosper. Okay? So be encouraged. And don't forget to encourage somebody today. Talk to you later.